Hello, my name is Natasha Hanisco, and this is my crew discussion. So, I chose to do the fantasy section of our middle school library. I limited my search to that, and I chose fantasy for a couple of different reasons. When I started looking at the reports for our catalog, I noticed that fantasy was the largest fiction section with 691 copies. It is also the most used section in our library with 756 checkouts this year. It has a relatively current average age of 11 years old. And also, fantasy is my favorite genre for personal reading, so it was an easy choice. So my general impression of the fantasy section is it is well loved since it's the most used section in the library. It is well used since, like I said, it has the most checkouts, but it does need some overall attention, and I'll get to that here. So the crew criteria for the fantasy section that I used is that it is a middle school library and fantasy is fiction. So I followed the textbook recommendation of the crew formula of X/2/MUSTIE, and that's from page 151, and that is for juvenile fiction criteria. So, based on that formula, one of the two in the formula here, it represents that the book has been checked out within the last 2 years it's been in circulation. So when I started running circulation reports, I found that 303 of the titles out of the 691 total have not circulated in the last 2 years. So that's about a third of the collection that has not circulated at all in the last 2 years. So based on just that, those 303 titles should be removed and replaced with titles that are more likely to circulate, because those 303 are irrelevant to the needs of the school. Since they're not circulating, they must not be interesting to the students, or they must not meet their needs in some way. So has this section been well weeded? So based on the 303 titles that have not circulated in the last years, I would say no. I don't have access to the physical copies, so it's hard for me to tell about the other factors. So for as far as the M for misleading, I would say that these are all fantasy books, so they're not going to fall under that misleading category. But I can't really tell if they are ugly. So that would be another thing that would need to be looked at. But since already a third of the section needs to be weeded based on the fact that it's not circulating, I would say that this section has not been well weeded and definitely needs some attention, especially since it's the most visited section in the library. A lot of these titles need to be removed and replaced with books that would circulate and meet the needs of the students who are obviously enjoying this fiction section so much. So that's it for my fantasy crew discussion. Thank you.